Hi, everyone. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Let me add myself to the screen. There I am. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. It's February 14th, 2023. We're here to do our regular live session where we take your immigration questions and try to answer to the best of our ability, general educational responses, because we can't sit down and look at all your paperwork and give you the exact answers. But we get a lot of help out here. We had one person who commented to our video yesterday that they had a citizenship case, a naturalization form N-400 case pending for more than 120 days. They didn't know what to do. They asked a question. We told them what they need to do step by step, and they got it and got citizenship. They're so excited. They left a great note and comment on our Facebook feed, because we do go live on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and one of those, I can't remember which one else. YouTube, main one, YouTube. So you can check us out all these places. We just got a new camera, so it's a little wider and the color's a little better. I'm trying to get a better system going. We've been doing these lives for like 3 years now. It's about time we update a little bit and maybe move this a little bit this way so it doesn't look as crooked. We're learning. I might get some pictures in here. But having said all that, give me your questions. If you'd like to have a private chat, you got to email me to schedule a consultation. But during the live show, for those watching live show, we do give away free video consultations. And for that, all you got to do is like and subscribe if you're watching this, so you're part of the system. And then you ask a good question and write consultation at the end of it so we know you're interested, or just write consultation if you don't want to put your question out there. And my wonderful assistant Katrina is watching, and myself will randomly pick 3 people throughout the show and try to set up a private video time so we can talk for 15 minutes outside the purview of everything else, so it's more private again and we get some more information out during that time. Having said that, there's one more thing I want to mention. We have a guide called the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, and it's for people who are interested in getting a marriage visa, fiance visa. It really breaks down the process really well. People always write great stuff about it. All you gotta do is go to this website and download it free. It's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's the place to go to download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. Having said that, happy Valentine's Day to you, Lindy, as well. Let's get the show started. Okay, the questions are starting to stream in from LinkedIn. What should I expect when I receive a letter to mail my medical exam? Does it mean there's no interview? Most likely. So when you're going to apply for a green card in the United States, a process known as adjustment of status, one of the requirements is that you submit a medical checkup on Form I-693. It goes over your background, your vaccines, and the like. Historically, I wouldn't send this in with the application package. And so clients could do it on their whim whenever they have time to do the medical checkup, so they're not rushed. But recently, they've instituted a wide-ranging policy of interview waivers where you don't have to go for an interview in person. And when that happens, they send you a letter saying, hey, just get the medical checkup in the sealed envelope and mail it to us in the location listed in the request for evidence, or RFE for short. And soon after, in my case, it's 2 to 6 weeks later, the green card gets approved. So it's wonderful. That's probably what's going to happen, but you got to be careful. We did a thorough video on this. If you go to YouTube's our YouTube page, JQK Law YouTube page, and type in medical checkup, JQK Law I-693 medical checkup, because the thing is, about 10% of the time, that's a lot, really, considering how many people are doing this process. The doctors don't complete the application form properly. They miss whole pages. They write the wrong information there. They say you have problems you don't have. All sorts of errors that happen that create delays and even denials in some cases. So what you want to do is, when you check with the doctor to get that medical checkup, you talk to the receptionist for scheduling a time. There's a lot of questions you have to ask, and in that video we have a checklist of questions to ask and exactly what to look for. So watch the video. There's a link there to download the information we're saying there as well. But the point is that we're making right now is you want to ask the doctor to give you a copy of your application package yourself. So you have a sealed envelope that has a medical checkup, but you also get another a copy of it so you can review it and see, is your name spelled right? Are the proper vaccines in there, and the like. So it's really important to do this additional thing yourself. If we submit the forms and applications for our office, this is part of our checklist. Always check the I-693 for applicants, because you look at the I-693, the form for medical checkup, and not fully understand what it's about or what to look for. Now, again, I did a thorough video on YouTube breaking this all down. You can get it down, and we have a sample. We highlight, watch out for this. But if you don't feel like doing the work yourself, which is all set out there, you can do it in our video and the link that comes with it. Just email office. We got a private consultation to discuss it further. I have a ton of other videos and short clips on YouTube as well that have this information. But the good news, going back to it, is there's a good chance your interview's waived. Just make sure the medical checkup is proper and it gets there. Send it with express mail with tracking, next day delivery, and have them sign for it. You don't want to get this stuff lost. Now, having said all that, I have a case right now, a marriage case, where we sent in the medical checkup. So it's all good. They got it. And then 2 weeks later, they sent us another RFE for medical checkup. So now we're kind of confused. Like, what does this mean? What's going on here? And so through back channels, I'm trying to communicate with a local USCIS office. They can clarify. We already spent the money. The client did. Got the medical checkup, mail it to you. Now you're asking for a new one. Now my client just doesn't want to mess around and says, you know what, I'll just get another medical checkup. But they spend hundreds of $500-$600 on a medical checkup for nothing. I don't think that's right. So I said, listen, let's try to communicate with them, see if we can fix it. If it's not going that direction, okay, go get another medical checkup. But it's not fair to you. So in the last few days, we're communicating, trying to get an answer to this. And hopefully it works out that requiring the client get a new medical checkup. But these are the kind of issues that come up a lot in immigration, unfortunately, especially this new waiver system that's happened. It's created its own pandemonium and errors that are happening pretty frequently for these interview waiver cases. Thank you for your question. A thorough one. That's something that's on my mind. So it's very timely that you asked that. Thank you. I want to take some questions really quick on Instagram and then jump back on the other ones. Papal says, my friend sent his medical record RFE since December 20th and the deadline is March 17th. And nothing shows online it has been received. Does it need to call? They don't necessarily, it's kind of an attachment to the previous question. They don't necessarily update the page if they receive an RFE. It's nerve-wracking because you're like, did they receive it or not? That's why it's important to send it with registered mail so you can track that they got it and they sign for it. So if they claim that they didn't get it later, they can fix it. But in this case, almost 2 months have gone by and they still haven't done anything about it. You could try calling. It's probably not gonna do anything, but yeah, give it a shot. It's just very nerve-wracking. I understand the worries you have, but this kind of stuff is typical right now. I think they were overwhelmed with cases that have to do interviews for, so did the interview waivers, and now they're overwhelmed with cases where I need a waive, which requires his own paperwork. So that's why we're seeing a lot of mistakes and stuff pop up in this area, particularly the medical that you have to send in. This is something that's happening like constantly in our office in the last 3-4 weeks. Constantly requests for evidence that are errors. Constantly just mistaking this, mistaking that, they'll have to fix. A lot of fires that were unexpected we have to put out now, but that's just the nature of the immigration game when you're in immigration lawyer. But thank you for both your questions, very timely. Next question is, Lynn says, good evening, John. Happy Valentine's Day to you too, Lindy, as well as to Jesse, I think, is asking it. Say, brother Jesse Rich, thank you so much. Rustam Girl says, I recently received a 10-year green card with a year backdated based on asylum. Can I travel outside the U.S. even if I've overstayed my visa before I got my asylum approved? So if you got the asylum approved, the previous overstays don't matter, but you will need a refugee travel document, the RDTD that you mentioned. You're not supposed to use your home country passport when you travel. Now, in reality, people do it all the time and they don't say anything, even though the regulations and the statutes say you're not supposed to do that. Once you're an asylee, you're not supposed to use the passport of your home country. And not visit the home country, but people do it all the time. They get away with it. But as a lawyer, I can't recommend someone does that because it's breaking the rules. So you need to get a refugee travel document. It's going to take a long time to get that, so be prepared. There are delays in getting these kind of travel documents. And along with that, you may need visas to go to certain countries, and some countries do not accept refugee travel documents. Like, for example, I think the Middle East, like Dubai or Saudi Arabia, they don't recognize that. You can't travel there with it. And other countries you want to visit, you have to request a visa to visit that country, even if your passport from your home country that you filed asylum against doesn't have a visa requirement. You will need to get one now. So just be mindful of this stuff before you travel so you don't make any mistakes. Now, Wazaz, I really appreciate your time and help. You're welcome. I have a question. My wife has an interview tomorrow morning in Pakistan. We have a child as well. What can we expect? Will the interview be easy? I don't know anything about you. It's good that you have a child, so that makes it so that they may not doubt the relationship. But is it going to be easy or not? It depends on your wife's background, who she is, what she's done, previous marriages, what documents you brought, what documents may be missing, your financial condition, if you satisfy the FA support requirement. There's just a lot of things going on. So it's not a matter of being easy or not. You just got to do what you got to do. And then, hopefully not get an officer that's extra difficult and not be hit with what's called administrative processing, which is very random, but it happens to Iranian, Pakistani, and many other countries where they'll say we need to think about it, and all of a sudden your case goes into a black hole. And there's no way to really prevent that from happening. So just be careful about that one. 2 notes I do want to give for those asking questions. We are getting tons and tons of questions. I know you want an answer, but be mindful. If you keep repeating the same question, it makes it very hard to keep track of what new questions are and who's doing what. So people who do that will be removed from the group. So please don't do that. And secondly, we always get a lot of questions about timelines. I did a thorough video on YouTube about 2023 trends on timelines and everything like that. Check that out. It's a large topic that takes half an hour to explain. And after half an hour, the real answer is no one knows how long your case is going to take. So if you have questions about how long a case is going to take, there's no real answer I can give you. I have cases that are almost identical, one approved in 3 months, one a year and a half later. There's no rhyme or reason to this stuff. That's why I don't really get into the timeline questions. So please avoid asking those. And also, don't spam and push a bunch of same question over and over again. It makes it very hard for everyone to keep up on what's going on. But thank you. So let's move on to the next question. It's a Hindi name. Okay. My asylum is granted. Can I apply for a green card after 2 months? So they just changed up the requirements, the rules for applying for a green card, and the physical presence requirement that's needed before you can file for one as an asylee. Can you apply for 2 months? I don't think so. But there is a new, I haven't dived into it too deep, but essentially you have to be here for a period of 365 or 1 year physical days before you can file. Don't quote me on that. The regulation is like a week old, and I haven't had a case like this, so I haven't had to dive in deep of it. Probably it's going to take more than 2 months, but definitely schedule a private consultation and look over the new USCIS update on this. It'll be very helpful for you. I want to take a quick question on Instagram. Akash asks, my mom has a B1, B2, a tourist visa. Can she re-enter after 6 months by going to Canada? No, you don't reset the time by going to countries next door. But if you're just going to do that, I mean, it's the visa waiver requirement you can't reset. I'm not sure about the B1, B2. You probably can. But practically speaking, if they go and then enter at the airport, they may doubt that they're really coming here as tourist holders and they're spending so much time here. So it's not impossible to do stuff like that. I can't remember if tourist visa holders can do that turnaround. I know visa waiver program people cannot. Having said that, it's a risky thing to do. So some things have to be looked into, but I don't recommend doing something like that. We'll go back to other questions. Busybug asks, my parents came to U.S. this week on an immigrant visa. Do they need to pay the green card fee or automatically comes? No, you have to pay the green card fee, and it's very strongly suggested you pay the green card fee before they enter the United States. If you do it after, USCIS claims that's going to cause some delays and stuff like that. I always have my case because they said that's what you're supposed to do. I always have my clients pay it before they enter. So I had to deal with the issue of people paying afterwards. It's probably going to be okay, but you should then pay it. If you don't pay it, it's not going to come. And if you pay it, there's huge delays. It can take 3 weeks. It can take 9 months to get the green card. And Art asks, have you ever heard about denaturalization because they didn't have the 3 years continuous presence? In general, during Trump's administration, they did start opening up old citizenship cases for heirs. I haven't heard about this particular issue, but the various times it has happened. Usually it's about people with criminal history, but it's not impossible. So they could do that if they improperly naturalize you. It is possible they could do that. Muhammad says, hi, I got married last year. My wife is not in the U.S. Do I need to file my taxes married? Yes, if you're married, you got to file your taxes as married. It's going to be hard finding an accountant that knows how to deal with this. And they're just going to say do single, but you shouldn't do that. The proper way to complete taxes is be honest. If you're married, you got to list it. There's married filed together, married filing separately. There's these 2 different options, and maybe head of household as well. I'm not familiar with the taxes. I don't want to get into that because I'm not an accountant, but you should file as married. You shouldn't mark single. TKNY asks, USCIS issued a new EAD, a work permit, though not applied as previous appointments expiring 24 instead of doing decision on 485. I'm not sure where you're saying they issued a new work permit before the other one was expired. I know decision. I don't know what to tell you. There's just stuff that happens. I don't know what the question exactly, but hopefully your case is decided soon. Mahesh says the I-94 expired. My cousin got a waiver from India. I don't know what the question is, Mahesh, so please clarify that. Mutaba says, can I apply for EB3 while I'm in asylum? Well, this is a question we get a lot, and it's a hot topic issue. So EB3 is a green card based on employment. But to be able to file and get a green card while in the United States, you have to satisfy certain requirements, one of which is maintaining continuous lawful presence in the United States. Now, there's an exception for work-based. You can have up to 180 days of lawful presence. But a lot of times people come to the United States as a tourist. They have 6 months. Within that tourist visa period of time, they file for asylum. So they're here authorized to stay until a decision is made on asylum case. Asylum cases sometimes take 4, 5, 6 years to get an interview, if not longer. And during that time, the person might find some employment and will want to file for their green card. So can they file for a green card? The situation is this. Most USCIS offices will deny this case because they'll say you have not maintained lawful status until filing the case. And then people argue, well, had asylum pending, that's status. And they come back and say, no, it's not status. It just means we'll let you stay here until a decision is made on your asylum case, but it doesn't mean you have status. Now, some very few USCIS offices, and there's an argument to be made that if USCIS is taking too long to approve an application, that's not your fault, not your problem, and that's their error. And because of that, you could be considered maintaining status for the EB3 purpose. So if you're looking to adjust status, file for a green card in the United States, 90% of the time they're going to deny it, 10% are going to approve it. It's ridiculous that this lack of consistency exists, but this is, immigration law. This is what it is. Alternatively, if you have not, created certain bars to your case, 3 or 10-year bars and stuff, and your background's okay, you can try doing consular processing, leaving the U.S., going to U.S. Embassy abroad, and then getting approved and coming back in. There's risk to that. If you leave, it could affect your asylum case. It could affect your ability to return to the United States. So it's not, a reliable thing to do necessarily. But if you got to do it and you want to do it, that's one thing. But this requires deep analysis, long conversation, not a simple, easy thing to just put through. Brandon says, if you have a 10-year green card and you divorce, can you still file for citizenship on your own? Yeah, if you've satisfied the 5-year requirement and the president's requirements, all requirements, yes, possible. Mahar says, can we expedite the waiver process quickly for H4? You can always request an expedite, but it doesn't mean they're going to give it. Now, I want to announce the winner, Brandon 13. You're a winner of our free video consultation. 15 minutes of time, we're talking private about your case. All you got to do is like and subscribe. I'm sorry, you already like and subscribe. All you got to do is take a screenshot of where you're watching this, and so I can see your username and I know it's you, and send that screenshot to me at info@jqqlaw.com. That's info@jqqlaw.com, so that I could check, make sure it's you, and then reply with the information for scheduling a private chat. For those just tuning in to the live show, we do give away free video consultations. We've got 2 more to give away. All you got to do is like and subscribe and ask a good question. At the end of the question, you write consultation in parentheses or something like that. Or if you don't want to ask a question, you could just say consultation. And we'll randomly pick people, and not so random. Sometimes we'll just pick intentionally, but with 1 or 2 more people before the end of the half hour, another 15 minutes. So you could, have private chats. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. And for those interested in marriage-based visas, marriage-based green cards, we have the plan for you. Download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, strategize on what's going on, then talk with an immigration attorney. Go to this website, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, to download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It'll help you a lot to get started in the process of learning what's going on in this U.S. immigration program. But thank you, everyone. Let's go to the next question. Ricardo asks, let's see, which one's the next question? We got a bunch right now popping up. Ricardo says, my citizen fiance is on drugs and has been arrested for prostitution. Can I get a green card? So there is a program where if you're married to somebody and they're abusive and stuff, and I'm not sure if this is abuse happening here, if they're doing drugs and doing prostitution on their own, maybe not, then you could potentially get a green card. If you're a victim of something related to this, somehow like a bad crime, maybe you get a U visa. But on its own, being engaged to someone without knowing more facts about your case, I can't answer that. We got to see if it falls within one of the categories, the exceptions that allows a person to get status. Yvonne asked, violence domestic on 2006. Can I still do something for a U visa? I don't handle the U visas in my office myself. I have an associate that does those, so I'm not an expert. Potentially, if you file the police record, you can, but I'm not a U visa expert, so I don't want to come on a live show and start giving guidance on a visa category I don't regularly handle. I haven't touched U visa in like 8 years. So if you just schedule a private consultation with one of my associates that will handle this, and you can talk with them then. Art asks, if they do denaturalize you, do you go back to your green card status or deportable and need to file applications? Well, if they do denaturalize you, it's because you did a serious violation. You probably will lose your status. Unless there was some error, yeah, you may be able to keep your green card. But usually if they denaturalize you, it's because there's some like fraud or something going on. So if you're misrepresenting and lying in your application, so you got physical presence that you didn't have, and they figured it out later, that misrepresentation can cause you to, defraud the government, can cause you to lose your green card. So that's possible. Yatin asks, what happened if you don't pass your citizenship interview? Well, it depends on why you didn't pass it. But if you just didn't pass because your English is not good or you didn't know the question or something like that, you could reapply. But if you didn't pass because you had severe violations or something like that, you did fraud, well, that could be a serious issue. You could be deported potentially. So, it depends on what the reason for your denial is. Again, if it's just something where you made a mistake about some information, you couldn't answer a question, couldn't answer the English question, whatever, then you could refile. It's not a big deal. But I don't know the facts. I need to see why your case was denied. Mahesh asks, my cousin is on an H4 visa. The I-94 got expired and they got an overstay, and she was barred and officer visa told to go to with a waiver. Do we have expedited process? All right, so that's a full question right there. Can you expedite the waiver request? You can request it, probably not going to happen. Waivers are super backed up unless there's some sort of real emergency need. Very unlikely they could do something because there's thousands and thousands of people with real dire needs that are ahead of you in line, and they're not getting those any faster. So you can always give it a shot, you never know, but it doesn't look good. Navi says, is USCIS getting sued for the I-601 waiver processing time? This actually follows up your question right there. The 601A waiver, which is for those applying for immigrant visas, a waiver of the 3 or 10-year bar, it was going 1 year, 2 year, now it's going over 2 years to approve these. So yeah, there are people individually suing for this. It's something to really look into if you want to go through that process or willing to pay the cost and all that kind of stuff. Definitely is something you should think about because the delays on the I-601 waiver and just waivers in general is out of control. So it's something, a lawsuit for delay is something people should realistically think about when it comes to these kind of situations to kind of push it forward. If not, you're just stalled there. They're not moving things forward. Very frustrating when it gets like that. Art asks, can you adjust status with an approved U visa if you have a fraud or misrep but don't qualify for 601 waiver? So the U visa process itself has a bunch of waivers in it. Now, I spoke to the previous person where I said I don't handle U visa case myself. I haven't done one for 8 or 9 years or something like that. But I remember for that case, there were several waivers that they provide for the U visas, and they're pretty hardcore waivers. Some serious stuff could be waived. But I got to review the individual case and probably just, you want to schedule a consultation with my associate, they can talk with you about that to see what applies and what doesn't apply in your case. Rahakas asks, I'm on an H3 visa. Can I lead to a green card? So the way the U.S. system is set up is you can have a temporary work visa or visitor visa, student visa. None of them turn into green cards. You need to have a separate way to get a green card. That separate way does not require you to have the initial non-immigrant visa, as they call it, temporary visa ahead of time. You could be in your home country and then apply for a green card and get it, or you could be here on a temporary visa and apply for that same green card. The H3 itself is a trainee program visa, does not have any, as with all of these temporary visas or work visas, there's no way to get a green card directly through it. Now, if you work somewhere and they really liked you as a trainee and they say, we want to have you, they can apply for the green card process for you. So take a couple of years at least, especially longer if you're from certain countries, and then eventually get a green card. So the H3 itself doesn't lead to anything, but the relationship you develop with the employer that may cause them to want to hire you, that could be the reason, and that could be to get you the green card. So not directly the way you talk about it, there's no direct leading, but it is possible to get a green card for anybody in that situation if they find the proper employer, or there's other ways of getting green cards. So investor status, you potentially you start your own company, for example. If you're extraordinary ability, you're really great at what you do, maybe that'll be something. So there may be some avenues, but not directly related to H3 itself, the visa itself. Subash asks, hi, sir, can a F4 category be expedited if the medical emergency is a humanitarian reason? So the F4 are brothers and sisters of U.S. citizens. That could take 13 to 25 years for that to process. It's so backed up. But that line cannot be expedited in any way on its own. There's no way to make it go faster because it's a line that exists. Now, if you have a humanitarian reason to come to the United States, potentially you can request to come here for that reason. For example, if you need to see a doctor that's not available in your home country or close by, you could get a special medical tourist visa or humanitarian parole to come in for a temporary period of time. It's very hard to get these, very rare, but you can give it a shot. But there's no way to expedite the F4 preference category on itself. What you can potentially do is, contact the congressperson, have them apply, and they could go and pass a bill that says you got a green card citizenship. Very unlikely that's going to happen, but it's not impossible. And these are full answers. These are possible, but most likely there's nothing you can do in this situation. But if you want to throw some darts out there and see what hits and sticks, you could try, a medical B2. You could try humanitarian parole then, and then, that's really not many options. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, in your same situation. But you can try everything. You never know. It may work. I'm going to take a quick question on Instagram. Malik asks, we just applied for a green card through marriage. I'm a non-citizen. My wife is American, but I applied for a green card lottery last year. Is this a problem for my green card interview? No. you can apply for the green card lottery. It's not an issue. That doesn't affect anything. So I wouldn't be worried about that at all. Just good luck on your marriage case. My wonderful assistant Katrina has named you, Malika, as our winner of our free video consultation. All you got to do is take a screenshot here so I know it's you. Email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com, and we can schedule a private consultation to discuss your case and learn more. Might be some other stuff you'd want to talk about. Again, for those just tuning in, we give away free video consultations. We've given away 2 already. I have 1 more to give away. 15-minute private chat. All you got to do is like and subscribe on these channels to follow us, and write a good question, or if you don't have a question you want to put out publicly, just write consultation, and we'll name off one per more person in like 5 minutes or so to have the private video consultation. So Malik, you're welcome. Saying thank you very much for coming on the show. And if you're interested in marriage visas, fiancé visas, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Let's get some more questions. Sandeep asks, after the I-485, the green card interview in the U.S., filed a NOID, a notice of intent to deny, and filed a 601, a waiver, the same officer will make a decision on their officer. Probably the same officer. I don't do our 601s at our office. A lot of this humanitarian stuff and waivers that I don't handle. Probably will be the same officer, but hopefully that you have enough stuff to get your 601 approved. But it's probably the same officer. But I don't handle these typically, so I don't keep track of all the nuances of it. Again, this is one of our associates does that. Dico says, how do I check my visa category case at the embassy? Well, it depends on where your case is. So when you get assigned a case to the National Visa Center, you get a case number. The first 3 letters are the embassy. It doesn't add a bunch of numbers. There's nothing going on there until you can upload your documents. And once you do, you just wait still. No help there. The only thing you can really check with the embassy is after you had your interview. You can go online to the CEAC site, the Department of State website for the DS-260 and stuff. There's an option there that says check my case number, and you can see if the embassy approved it or is still pending and stuff like that. That's the most you can do for checking your case. That's about it. What you probably mean is you have a preference category case that has a line F2, F3, F4 category, F1, F4, and you need to see where the line is. You need to find your priority date and then go check what's called the Visa Bulletin. Comes out every month, just came out today, and see where you are in that line, how much closer you are towards reaching your place in line. It's a little confusing, but we have a bunch of videos on this. Just go to YouTube, type in JQK Law, and then Visa Bulletin. I got explanatory videos on everything. I have thousands of clips right now, everything explained. So all you gotta do is check those out. And if you really want extra help, just email us, schedule a private consultation, and we can take it from there. So we're gonna be ending the show pretty soon. If y'all have some last questions, please let me know. If not, we're going to come back in next Friday. But just give you a heads up, a lot of changes are happening with the Immigration Department. Some positive stuff. Today, we got an update to the Child Status Protection Act, which is very helpful. USCIS is being very friendly and helping people who are children past the age of 21 and still staying on the parent's application. That was a great situation. The Ninth Circuit allowed TPS, temporary protected status, continue for a lot of countries, including El Salvador yesterday. That was a big win for people who have TPS. They're not going to be kicked out. They're updating the style of the green card so that there's no new features and stuff. So expect your work permits and green card to look a little differently than what they used to. I mentioned already in this show that the asylum rules on getting green card changed regarding to how soon you can wait for filing. That came out a week or 2 ago. I'm going to cover more stuff. Let's take one more question and call it a day. Venon says, on my USCIS account, my processing time says 7 months. USCIS processing time is different. Which one should I consider? Neither. So a lot of times when you file for the first time, the estimated time, that's how long the case will end. But if you go to USCIS.gov, check their case timelines, they'll say a different thing. Both of them are reliable. There's no way to know. And that's why when people ask me, I said at the beginning of the show, asking about timelines, they don't ask me about this because there's no reliable answer to this stuff. They'll get around to it when they get around to it. Now, if it feels like it's extra long or above, here it's still pending a lot, you can file some complaints, some lawsuits potentially. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is. There's no reliable timeline. So I tell people, don't even look at the timelines. And it's just going to stress you out because it's just so inconsistent. They said they're going to make it more consistent by this October. We'll see. We'll hope so, but I don't really think it will happen. Just the same kind of craziness is what we're going to be dealing with. And then a Bible quote asks, will I be denied if I overstayed my visa for 7 years and went back home and my mom was filing for me? Well, you won't necessarily deny. You're subject to what's called a 10-year ban on reentry. However, if your mom applies for you, you're probably over 21. So it's going to take 7 or 9 years anyways for your case to be current so you can apply for the visa. So by the time you go for your green card, it'll be close to the 10-year bar, being finished, a 10-year ban you have. So you'll probably be okay, but you got to time it right. So you really need to talk to the lawyer to get the laws and rules on this so you don't waste time or pay filing fees or go to an interview where it's a waste of time. You kind of push things back in the proper way to get it done. But it's possible to get approved, but you got to wait a little bit longer. And we'll take one more case on Instagram and we'll call it a day. Bori asks, I have a 10-year green card. I'm married to a U.S. citizen. I need to be out of the country due to family member being ill. How can I satisfy the requirement for presence in the United States if I need to be out? You cannot, unless you're working for the military or for a U.S. corporation abroad that's serving commercial purpose U.S., you cannot count the time abroad as physical presence in the United States. You're out of luck. So what you got to do is make sure you're not out of the U.S. for extended periods of time. Try to come back every 3 months, not be outside, have your spouse be here, have your life here, so they don't accuse you of breaking your continuous presence in the United States for citizenship. That's problematic. You just keep coming back. Unfortunately, it sucks if someone's ill. You want to be by them, but it's going to mess up your citizenship if you're outside for extended periods of times, even if for shorter periods, but frequently enough. So there's a lot of planning that needs to happen for this to go right. And my wonderful assistant Katrina Boryev has named you as our winner of our free video consultation. We'll have a quick chat, 15 minutes on video. All you gotta do is take a screenshot of where you're watching this, so I know it's you. Email it to me, and we'll schedule a time to chat about what's going on in your case and take it from there. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Wonderful session. Had a lot of good questions. I appreciate you coming on. You can contact us in private at info@jqklaw.com if you want to schedule an individual consultation with myself or one of my associates that better specializes in the case type that you need. I'm John Khosravi. Thank you again. God bless you. Be safe, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.